All right, you should be able to hear me now. I hit the wrong button. So, oops. What's going on, Wacky? what's going on, Wacky Iraqi? How you doing, man? Again, what's going on, Holy Clown? Hope you guys are doing all right. Um, Basically, you didn't miss much. I was just saying hello, and then I was talking about how trying to stream tonight was a little bit sudden. It was a little bit weird trying to get it all together and stuff like that. Then I showed you my oven mitts. They have Snoopy on them, which is also the name of the dog that lives with me. I don't know if he's in here or not. Watching. Oh, is BKFC on? No, I'm not watching them right now. I remember they used to have their stuff on Saturdays, and they started doing the Friday night fights thing, I guess, recently. I haven't watched BKFC in a while, and I don't know, like I know they're growing, right? I'm not trying to say they like suck or anything like that. It's just it's hard for me to get invested because the way they do things is a little bit weird. Like I went to a tryout in 2021. It was May of 2021. It was in Belfast, New York. And it was really cool, really fun experience. I loved the shit out of it, right? And I remember seeing both the guys who would end up being selected to be given contracts, right? One of them was Devin Gibson. You can look this guy up. He's from Sarnia, Canada. Really cool guy. We used to follow each other years ago. I don't know. I don't know if he still follows me or not. I think I follow him still. I could be wrong. But they gave him a contract. And then there was this other dude named Cito, right? Lardy, right, is his name, but he goes by Cito, right? Lardy Cito. He's actually from my state. He's out west of me. We still check in on each other's stuff. Kind of keep up with what each other's up to, and if we ever see each other, we're happy to see each other. He's a really cool guy. These guys got given contracts, and then they had to wait like 6 or more months to fight. It was fucking crazy. Then you have these weird situations where, if like you have this weird situation where I've noticed that if you get signed, right, whether it's for one fight or if it's a multi-fight contract, if you win your first fight, you have a massive layover, right? You do not have a quick turnaround. And the thing is, when you are in combat sports, you need to have a quick enough turnaround as to where people still care about you and people still want to see you, right? People are gonna, excuse me, geez, I scarfed down my dinner before I started, so I might end up burping it up. There's like you have to have a quick enough turnaround as to where people are still gonna remember you fucking exist, you know. And because it almost seems like they don't reward you for winning, right? And I'm not saying this is on purpose, right? I'm just saying like I notice dudes win and then I don't see them again for at least 8 months, right? Um, it seems like they don't really incentivize winning, at least your first match, right? I've also noticed that if you lose your first match, all of a sudden they want you back, right? They want you back quick. It's just like a weird thing, and maybe it's changed. It's like I said, when I was watching BKFC years ago, when it first came around, I remember being excited for BKFC one. I remember watching fucking Reggie Barnett. They had some guys who went over to BYB as well. They had like a DJ Linderman. They had what's it called? Was Rico Rodriguez on the first one? I forget. They had is it Beck Rawlins or Beck Rawlings? I'm pretty sure it's Beck Rawlings. They had her, the Queen of Bare Knuckle. That's what they called her. I was excited for it because it was something new and interesting. But the way they handle it is just kind of weird, and I do feel that it kind of impedes on the growth, right? You don't want to grow too quick, okay? But you want to grow in a certain way, right? Even if you're just growing slow and steady, you want to grow in a certain way. And you want to try and create stars, right? But they don't seem to be trying to create stars. They have these dudes like Zach Kalmus. Zach Kalmus is a dude who's had 3 or 4 fights. I know Zach. Like, he's a cool guy. He's from fucking He's a North Shore guy. We've ran into each other a couple of times over the years, and then I saw him at the BKFC tryout, right? And he tried to put in a good word for me. You know, really nice guy. I want to help him get ready for a fight, right? But it's one of those things. We got to be here, but he's either here or maybe I'm there, something like that. You know, we just can't catch each other, right? He's here and I'm here. No, but yeah, like Zach Kalmus, really cool guy. Always fights 100%. There is no chill. There is no fear in him. There is no hurting him or anything like that. I remember seeing the first time I saw Zach Kalmus fight was on a Combat Zone card in New Hampshire, Rockingham Dog Track, and I forget if it was the card that I forget if it was the card that I was on, or if it was a card that this girl that I was seeing at the time was on, as well as a good friend of mine. But like I saw him fight, and he ended up being a boxer, right? Only a boxer who decided he was just going to get into kickboxing randomly. And he ended up fighting a dude who is now a Muay Thai champ. And it was a really ugly fight, I'll be honest with you. But there was zero fucking quit in that guy. Like, truly. Like, I have nothing but good things to say about Zach Kalmus. You should check him out. You should check him out on Instagram. You know, Instagram, and also watch his fights. He's made for bare knuckle when it comes down to it. Shit, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, like that's a star. They should be pushing Zach Kalmus. They should be pushing a lot of guys, right? That they don't push, and they don't push those guys because they're not already established talent. You know, why would you push Zach Kalmus when you could push Mike Perry, right? And the thing is, like, it seems to make sense, right? It kind of sort of makes sense a little bit. You got Mike Perry versus Luke Rockhold. Okay, fine, that's cool. But it's not sustainable in the way that they want it to be. You know, the second Mike Perry retires, you know, all of a sudden people are like, nah, I don't care about it anymore, dude. You know, who do they got? What fucking dude who was not that good in the UFC that's gonna do really fucking good now are they gonna pick up now? Ah, jeez, dude. They got fucking Chris Weidman now, dude. Jeez, man. Like you know, I'm trying to explain this point. It's kind of unraveling as time goes on. It's because there's so many different angles to this, and like they're all hitting me at once, and I'm like, oh yeah, and this, and that, and this, and that. Bottom line is, I liked BKFC a lot. I don't watch it anymore unless somebody I know is going to be on there. Jack Shady Grady. You know what? I'm gonna check something out here. We're gonna go ahead. We're gonna see something. We're gonna fucking see something. All right. Hold on. I'm gonna go to YouTube instead. We're gonna watch something here. Jack Shady Grady, right? I'll watch Jack Shady Grady, right? I will watch Devin Gibson, right? I will watch Zach Kalmus, Lardy, right? Cito, right? I will watch those guys. And the last time I watched BKFC, now that I think of it, was about a year ago when I watched Jack Grady get fucking DQ'd, right? He ends up getting DQ'd and causing a riot in the squared circle. That's the last time I watched BKFC. Other than that, I don't care. Like, Mike Perry versus Luke Rockhold was very good. They ended up it ended up being a really good thing for them. Oh jeez. Oh boy. Oh man. No way. Dude, you guys are never gonna believe what I just oh no. This can't be it. This can't be the real one. Hold on. Sorry. I need to confirm this before I start talking about it. I found something sort of interesting. All right. Okay. All right. That's good. That's good. I'll go. I'll go ahead and I'll go ahead and show you what I thought I found. Yeah. Anyway. Uh. Oh hey, Jack Grady versus the Magic Crusher. Um. Ah man, dude, I can't find the video. I can't find the fucking video. Damn, bro, that sucks. There was a there. Hold on, hold on. I'll try one more. All right, we'll go ahead. We'll watch this, right? So this is the last time I watched BKFC. So headbutt, just blatant headbutt by Jack. I didn't even notice all the other stuff like elbows and fingers to the eye and things like that. He just went in there and was like, whatever, I don't even care. Headbutt. Oh man, that's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. Oh, okay. That's not. Uh, yeah, I don't. Oh man, that sucks. There the video where the world was introduced to Jack Shady Grady. I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to track that down. It's out there somewhere. I know it's out there somewhere. Um. Oh hey, look at this bad Larry. It's funny seeing my videos in the wild. Anyway, like I was I was looking for something specific. It's not here. All right. Sorry about that. The video where the world was introduced to Jack Shady Grady, and actually, funny enough, that fight that I just showed you where Jack Shady Grady got DQ'd is how I found out about Jack Grady Magic, right? Because on Instagram, Jack Grady Magic was in the comments section of the Instagram post where they had Shady you know they talked about the DQ from Shady, and he was talking shit saying Jack Grady did nothing wrong. Anyway, whatever. It is what it is. Like bottom line, BKFC, I want to see them grow. I want to see them do well, but the thing is, they don't really do things in a way that I feel is going to give them the kind of growth that they want in the way that they want it and as quickly as they want it to be. They're so dependent on former UFC guys, and either one, what's going to happen is somebody's going to start paying them more, and they're not going to go to BKFC anymore. Because, like, look at Luke Rockhold, right? Sure, sometimes you have these dudes that are just made for it. Like Mike Perry's one of those dudes who's just kind of made for it, right? Michael Venom Page thought he was going to waltz in and KO Mike Perry. No, wrong, you know? It just did not happen, right? MVP is a little bit too much of a pretty boy, right? BKFC is not a pretty boy sport. There is a way about it, right? And that's something I want to do for my Patreon is make videos for bare knuckle specific techniques, right? Um, you know, it's very it's a dirty sport, right? And I don't mean that as a pejorative. I mean that as like it's just the truth, you know. It's not clean in the way that pro boxing is, or even MMA is comparatively, right? It's a shit show. It's a clusterfuck. That's how the fights are, and that's what makes them fun, right? Especially when you start seeing technique inside of the shit show. People think a brawl is just a brawl. I'm just gonna throw ham hocks at you until you fall. But no, there is a way to brawl, you know? And that's what Dempsey taught. That's what Rocky Marciano did, right? That's what Marvin Hagler did. Who else? Mickey Ward. And I'm naming a lot of New England guys. It's because when it comes down to it, New Englanders are you know, boxing is cultural. This isn't something that I really understood until I heard one of the guys who was on Fight Quest say it, right? The Fight Quest guy, one of them has a YouTube channel and he talks about stories and stuff like that. He said that boxing is cultural. You know, the way that they box in Mexico will not be the same way that they do in Cuba or Russia or anywhere, right? And the U.S. is so big, right? And there's so many different influences and things like that that you know, you'll go to one part of the U.S. and they don't fight the same way as they do in another part of the U.S., you know? And the way that we fight in New England, Boxing specifically, I'm not saying you can't be slick or anything like that, but we really have mastered the art of being intelligent brawlers. That's really what it is, and that's kind of the again, like Rocky Marciano is a perfect example of somebody that people don't realize actually was very methodical and technical. Right? They think just because he had an iron chin and dynamite in his hands, that meant like, oh nah, he ain't that good. It's like, no, he was very good at what he did, and there was a science behind it. Same thing, Marvin Hagler, switch hitter, right? Utilize different techniques to get into the range that he favored so that he could start clubbing dudes, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm digressing. Like I said, I'm trying to make one point, and there's so many different angles to this, and there's so many things I could say that I end up like going that way when I should be going this way. At the end of the day, like, not every UFC guy is going to be cut out for BKFC. You're going to have dudes like Luke Rockhold who straight up said, like, nah, it's one and done for me. Same thing with Greg Hardy. Like, Greg Hardy went to BKFC and he got absolutely walloped by some dude who is fucking just, like, insanely tough. And then he straight up said, yeah, nah, I'm not a big fan of this whole bare knuckle shit. I like bullying pretty boys. That's not literally what he said, but that's basically what he ended up saying, right? Meme Ranch, what's going on? I'm kind of in the middle of just like ranting about BKFC. So sorry, I don't know if you're still here. I hope you are. Hope everything's well with you guys. Everyone who's here, all 6 of you. You should check out Meme Ranch. I did a podcast on their channel. Geez, how long ago was it? It must have been like 4 or 5 months ago. I did a podcast on their channel, and it did pretty well. It did pretty well compared to things that I'm usually featured in, and I have a feeling it's because Sam Hyde's name was mentioned. So that's probably it. I'm not trying to be like, hey, I made that bitch famous, right? That's not what I'm trying to say. It's just, I was happy to see it hit over 1,000 views. That's really cool. But anyway, not every UFC guy is going to be cut out for BKFC, and because of that, eventually I feel that the pool will dry up. Right, the talent pool of former UFC guys that already have names and that people are going to be like, wow, he's doing bare knuckle. I wonder how that's going to go. That's going to dry up, right? If BKFC started back in like 2006, 2007, they would have had a much better time. Or better yet, like 2004. Because that was an era of the UFC where it really was just fucking tough guys who, like, sure, maybe they did karate. Or like maybe, maybe they boxed in the army. Maybe they wrestled here or there, maybe they were college wrestlers who they graduated and they got degrees and they can't hang it up, so they're like, fuck, man, I might as well get into this mixed martial arts shit. What was I gonna say? You had more dudes like that back then. If they did back then like they would have had a really good time from 2009 to 2015, 2016, because all those rough and tumble dudes that can't do it anymore in the UFC, they would have just went right over to BKFC, and they would have had golden age fighters, golden era fighters, fucking Chuck Liddell. I guess, I mean, it'd be cool to see Chuck Liddell, right? Tito Ortiz, Frank Shamrock, like all these dudes who they were just made of steel back then. Not saying that today's fighters aren't tough. It's just, it was a different game back then. Imagine Forrest Griffin, Stephan Bonnar rematch in BKFC. That'd be crazy. Imagine Kimbo getting into BKFC, right? Imagine that. That'd be insane. That'd be crazy, but they're just too reliant on the UFC talent. They're too reliant on the elite athletes that are now past their prime, and because of that, they're looking for an easy payday in this new thing that, seems interesting, and, maybe they'll like it, so they'll try it, That's really what it comes down to at the end of the day. When those guys go, and when they have a hard time finding somebody to come in and replace them, they're not going to have anybody because they don't ever bother to push their own talent. You know, they shelf their own talent in favor of other people who, you know, I feel like I'm starting to talk in circles. I don't want to keep talking in circles. It's just, I feel like I'm having a hard time making the point. You guys probably understand it, but I feel like I'm not making the point as well as I want to or should. And that ticks me off. You know, I hate having something to say and I just can't get it out, you know? Um, excuse me. Meme Ranch says, it's been too long. Come back. Oh, yeah, I'm down. You know, hit me up. Hit me up on Instagram or Twitter, you know? You know, like I'm down to come back anytime. You know, just let me know. We'll figure something out. You know. Joshua Tomeo auto subscribe to Meme Ranch. Thank you, Joshua. I appreciate that. Mansoor Big, how's your night going? It's going all right. Just doing my thing. You know, just doing my thing. Ranting for what's probably been how long has it been? How long has it been? Oh, geez. Yeah, ranting for 26 minutes about how BKFC isn't doing it right. You know? I really do like BKFC, too. Like, I've been... Even before BKFC was a thing, I was experimenting with and I was studying different, like, gypsy, like, dirty boxing techniques and shit like that. Stuff that would be legal and illegal in BKFC, right? It's like fighting is my thing. You know, it's just what I do. And I'm not trying to be like, dude, fuck it, I'm a fighter kid. It's like, no, like even if I'm not fighting, even if I'm just training other people, even if I'm just training to like stay in shape, you know, get in shape maybe. Fighting is it takes up a lot of my time and it takes up a lot of my energy, both, you know, physical energy as well as mental energy, because it's something that I really love the shit out of. You know, I feel connected to, I feel drawn to combat, right? The art of combat. And because of this, like, there's so many things that I have started doing just because I've experimented. And I'm not saying I invented anything, right? I'm saying that like I put so much thought and energy into this that like even before BKFC was a thing, I was like, oh, what happens if you do this? What happens if you do that? And then all of a sudden there's this sport that I could potentially use the shit in, you know? Hold on. I got a message from somebody. I'm just trying to make sure. All right. No, it's all good. Anyway, it's just I love it, you know, and I want to add to it. I want to be somebody who is able to I want to be able to what was I going to say? I want to be able to you know, I want to be a Trevor Whitman kind of guy, right? When it comes down to it. I want to be a Jackson Wink type of guy. And I know Jackson Wink isn't you know, one guy. It's Greg Jackson and I think Mike Winklejohn or some shit like that, or something like that. I forget, right? I want to be somebody who adds to the game, you know, that I'm able to put something out there that somebody else is going to take, right? If I can't use it on my own, that is, right? That's what I want to be. You know, I feel the way I feel about fighting is the way that a researcher feels about whatever field of research they go into, right? They wanna find a new element so they can name it after themselves, you know, that type of stuff, you know, or a new bug or something like that. That's kind of how I feel about fighting, right? And you know, it's just it's cool to see the way things go, and yeah, that's that. Anyway, I'll DM you, Scott. Could be next week at the earliest, I think. Thank you, Joshua. Yeah, definitely, dude. Oh, actually, did you DM me now? Oh no, you didn't. That was somebody else. Somebody else DM'd me. Somebody else, damn it. Anyway, Sanchez fighting for them next month. Definitely going to be an interesting card. I just want to see Kevin Croom get knocked the fuck out tonight. Dude's a snake. Kevin Croom. Kevin Croom was I forget the names of the people involved, but I do know that there was some kind of thing about like you know, this guy, he got married to some chick and he ended up getting cheated on because like his best friend was a fucking dickhead, you know. It's not just that his best friend is a dickhead. It's that like the wife is too, you know. But like everybody involved except the victim of the cheating was just like being the scummiest type of person, you know. And that's disrespectful, you know, and that's like when I say disrespectful, obviously cheating is disrespectful, but like it's one of the highest forms of disrespect when you're gonna sit there and you're gonna get married and you're gonna be like, okay, now I'm gonna fuck the other guy that I'm seeing behind my husband's back. Oh, and it's his best friend. It's our wedding night. Time to go fuck the guy that I'm seeing behind my husband's back. Oh, and it's his best friend. You know, chances are, like, if it truly was the guy's best friend, chances are he was probably a groomsman too. You know, he's sitting there on the fucking podium, like on the podium. He's sitting there at the altar, like off to the side, like, haha, yeah, I'm gonna fuck that bitch tonight. It's like, yo, that's disgusting, bro. You know, um, the level of disrespect people have today is disgusting, and it made it so that I didn't want to date for a long time. I met my wife completely by fluke. I had spent like a year and a half, which I'm not saying is like the longest amount of time. I'm just saying I spent a year and a half staying away from women, right? Because I was just tired of the bullshit that came with dating, right? And I got by pretty good, and it was actually a very productive time of my life, and it was a happy time of my life, if I'm being honest with you. It was very simple, you know. Not that I don't love my wife, not that I don't like being married. It's just, there are more complications now, and then in addition to that, I can't just think about myself anymore. I got to think about my wife too. In fact, now I think about my wife first and myself second, right? And that's both biological as well as the fact that I want to be a good husband. I genuinely want to be a good husband to my wife. Um, there's a certain amount of pride I take in that, and in addition to that, I also recognize that I swore an oath before God, and to break that oath is to essentially, without saying, fucking. It's like selling your soul to the devil, right? But without actually making a deal with the devil. If that makes sense, right? I'm sure you guys, are aware of that. Um, wasn't it Tim Elliott? I'm not sure. I have no idea. Um, yeah, it's just it's just disgusting, And if I'm gonna answer other questions and things like that. I do see some other things that I want to talk about as well, but I gotta go on another rant real quick, and by real quick I mean we're gonna take another half hour here. Don't date MMA girls, right? If you are an MMA fighter, or if you just are into martial arts and things like that, or if you happen to stumble upon a girl who does do MMA, don't date MMA girls. And I made that mistake, and it really did not it was not a good thing, man. It was really not a good thing. um there were multiple factors to it that made it not a good thing, but like really, like the worst part of it was that there was this girl who was leading me on, and I was not mentally well at the time. I'm not saying I was mentally ill, it's just that I was very immature, and I was very naive and things like that at the time. And like the thing about MMA girls is that, like, and I'm not saying it's all of them. I'm not saying it's every single fucking one of them. So please don't try and act like I'm like every one of them. I'm speaking in generalities here. MMA girls, like, there's if try not to date your coach challenge. Impossible, right? That's the thing with MMA girls. Try not to date your coach to get free training challenge. Impossible, right? If I could use a meme to sum it up, to sum it all up for you guys. Like so many MMA women, they end up dating their coaches because, like, for one thing, It's a hierarchy thing. It's like, ooh, I got the top guy. He's the coach. Ooh, right. But then in addition to that, it's also free training and it's also free career advice and things like that, et cetera, et cetera. Coaches, they take 10 to 20% depending on, how much they like you and what their fee is and stuff like that. If you're a pro fighter, that's how much of your purse they take, right? 10% of 2,000 would be $200, right? And that's just on a regional on the regional circuit, right? And I'm not saying that's a hard and fast rule. It's just that that's usually what you end up seeing. Like you see these MMA chicks who are like, I don't want to have to pay to come here, and then on top of that, I don't want to have to give my trainer like money out of my purse and things like that, blah blah blah. And they end up dating their coaches. Other times they'll be looking to try and get a job at a gym, so they'll lay it on the instructor, or not the instructor, but the gym owner and things like that. And that's the type of shit that happened with that MMA girl that I dated years ago. Is that like she was kind of trying to be one of the queen bees of the MMA scene in my region. We're very tight knit in New England, right? Everybody kind of knows everybody. If you don't know somebody, you know somebody who knows that guy. That's kind of how it is, right? Even if you don't like know somebody, it's like, oh yeah, I've seen that guy around fucking O'Houlihan's MMA gym. When we go there to spar on Saturdays and things like that, right? Right, and the New England MMA scene is very tight knit. The New England women's MMA scene, if this is the New England scene, this, right, that little circle right there is the women's New England MMA scene, right? And this girl was kind of trying to be like the queen bee of the women's MMA scene in New England, right? And because of that, she was always looking to try and get, jobs teaching at different gyms and stuff like that. And she would always flirt with these guys at these gyms and stuff like that. She would have inappropriate relations, right? And I don't necessarily mean sexual all the time, though she did have sexual relations with some people at one of the gyms that she taught, right? Just being honest about it. She ended up leading me on, and then she ended up fucking some guy from one of the gyms that she teaches at. There's more to this story. I'm giving you an abridged version, right? And I'm not saying that I'm like absolutely perfect. I was not in that situation. I was still very weird and stuff like that. But even then, it's like, just because someone's weird doesn't mean you have a right to fucking lead them on and then like break their heart and shit like that, and like it's like that with a lot of them too. A lot of MMA girls really are just like weird. They're just kind of like cracked out in a way. And they will do that type of stuff. And like that was his first mistake, was going, oh hey, this girl who instead of cooking, instead of sewing, instead of sitting around watching Netflix and going to Sephora and learning a new way to do her makeup, instead of doing stuff that like normal women enjoy doing, she would rather go get punched in the head and be surrounded by all these guys who everybody's just looking at them like, oh man, she's cute. There's usually something wrong with that girl on a mental level that causes her to be there, right? Horse girls with a temper. Yes, actually, it's a very good way to put it. MMA girls are basically just horse girls with a temper who know how to fight. That's basically it, right? There's something wrong with them, and that's why they're into MMA, and that's why they're into it in the way that they are, right? I'm not saying every woman who goes to an MMA gym is, like, fucked up. It's just, it is kind of a running thing with MMA women as to where, like, you are probably in for some kind of weird bullshit regarding that, And it's a situation where things are very intimate. And I don't necessarily mean sexual, but the thing with intimacy, right, is that it can turn sexual. It can become sexual, right, if you are not careful. And it can do that without you even fucking realizing it, And then all of a sudden you're cheating on your fucking husband and things like that. And I've seen, It's not just with that guy. I've seen it happen before. I've experienced it, you know? And it's especially fucked up because you're dating an MMA girl and like you lose your next fight and she judges you to be like not worth her time, not worthy, and things like that. This girl that I was telling you about, she's a nice girl, right? She actually came to me. It was a week before I got married, and she was like, "Scott, I want you back." No, no, no. She didn't actually do that. She came to me like a week before I got married. She didn't know I was gonna get married. You know, it just funny timing. And she was like, "Hey, I just want to say I'm really sorry for that. Like, fucking that wasn't like cool of me to do, and I was fucked up back then, and I wasn't prioritizing the right things, and I thought love was something that it wasn't, and blah 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 blah. I really did like you, but I was more concerned about blah 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 blah, etc. etc." She did that, and I appreciate that because it's rare that I get an apology from anyone when they like mistreat me and things like that. I'm very quick to apologize to people when I do things that get on their nerves and other things like that. But a lot of people have a hard time apologizing. I've never really had a hard time with that. So bottom line, MMA women fucked up most of the time, not all the time. I'm not saying it's all of them. Okay, fucking, if you find one that's cool, great, good for you. I mean that, but typically you're not gonna want to fuck around with them too much. You're gonna be, and you will notice the weirdness. They're gonna pretend like they totally aren't flirting with that guy at the gym and things like that. It just is fucking weird. And yeah, Wacky Iraqi says trusting a girl who's constantly rolling around with other guys on the mat can be tricky. Yes, 100%. There's certain situations that you should not be in as somebody who is in a relationship or married. I will never be in a conversation with a girl that my wife does not know about. Right? If there's a woman who hits me up for my work, I tell her right away, hey, this woman, she's from work. I just want to let you know, here she is. And I expect the same thing from my wife when some random guy hits her up. I shouldn't be picking up her phone and looking through it, and all of a sudden I find some shit. And they say like, oh, that's a breach of trust. You shouldn't look through your significant other's phone and blah blah blah. Yeah, bullshit. She's my fucking wife. What, you're gonna tell me what I can't do with my wife? Shut the fuck up. Get out of here. It's my wife. She ain't a free agent. She ain't gonna fuck you, you simp. She doesn't like people like you. And anyway, like, yeah, I will check my wife's phone, right? I'm not saying I'm like picking it up like, what shit? It's just like if I happen to pick up her phone to like do something with it, and like I open up an app and like, oh hey, like that's weird. There's this guy in here, right? If I find something like that, like, of course I'm gonna be like, what the fuck is this? And because of that, she knows, like, yeah, I should tell him, right, when another guy is speaking to me on my phone and things like that. There's certain situations you should not be in, and that's one of them, right? When you're in a serious and committed relationship or marriage, you should make it a point to make sure that everybody on your phone is something that your significant other is aware of, right? In addition to that, the idea of having friends of the opposite sex is not something that I'm a fan of. The only female friend that I really have that's like that is Sylvia, right? I text Sylvia every now and again, and she texts me. That's about it. Other than that, I'm really not interested in just having female friends like that. It's not something I'm too keen on, right? And it's like, what am I gonna talk about with a fucking woman? Just being honest here, like what? Unless it's MMA shit, like we have MMA in common. It's like, all right, like. Nothing. That's it. There really isn't much for me to be talking to a woman about, right? So if I was talking to a woman on that level, typically it means that something, if it has not already happened, if it is not currently happening, it's going to end up fucking happening at some point. because we are around each other for a reason. And that reason may not be clear right now, but what's going to happen is slowly but surely, we're just going to get closer and closer and closer and closer and closer until we're like that, right? That's what's going to end up happening. That's how cheating happens. That's when a woman, right? When a woman says, "Oh, I don't know, it just happened. Oh my gosh, I don't know, it was a mistake. It just happened. Oh my gosh, I don't know, it was a mistake. It just happened. I don't know what happened." Right? When they say that, it's because they literally don't 110% know what happened. Maybe in like the back of their head, maybe their Jungian dark side or their shadow self is acutely aware of what was going on, but like they have a hard time bringing that up to the front so that they can articulate it, right? They knew from the get-go in the back of their head that they were going to be trying to fuck that guy that they met at the bar, but she said, "Oh, I'm married, but we can just be friends," right? She knew that she was going to do that, but she knew that she couldn't do it right now, right? So she just decided, you know what, it's okay, I'll keep you around, you know? There shouldn't be anyone in your wife's orbit. The second there's someone in your wife's orbit, you gotta like tell her to knock that shit off, or you gotta get the hell out of there, you know? One of the two, right? Because it's not going to a good place. And the same goes for a husband too, right? If there's a girl that that your husband is speaking to, and he's like a little bit too giddy, he's a little bit too happy to see her and talk to her and things like that, like you got to tell him, hey, knock that shit off. And that's the thing, is women are very well aware of that kind of fucking bullshit, and because of that they get very jealous and very territorial about their husbands and things like that. They don't allow that type of shit to happen. You don't have situations where a guy is like, "Oh yeah, I'm texting this girl, her name's Jessica, she's real cool, we're just friends, it's okay, don't worry about it, hun." They don't allow that type of thing to go down because they are aware of it on a level, right? They are aware of it. They know what is going on, right? So like you really typically are not gonna have a situation like that in the first place, where it's a husband with like a female friend, you know. But it just it's a situation to look out for, you know. I could talk, maybe I'll do a stream or something like that where I talk about like how I feel about a bunch of different topics and things like that regarding marriage and like interpersonal relationships when you're married and things like that. Maybe I'll do something like that because, again, like I'm having a moment. I just have this thing tonight where I know what I'm trying to say, but I just feel like I'm not doing a good enough job of explaining it. And like I said, even if even if you understand, I want to feel like I'm doing a good enough job of explaining it, right? That's kind of the curse of someone who likes to hear themselves talk like I do. If you're hearing yourself talk but you're not doing as good as you think you should be doing at talking, you're like, fuck, shit, fuck, you know. That's how you feel. Um uh People who apologize too much are usually just anxious messes. Yeah, no, I agree, Tom H. And the thing is, I don't apologize too much. I'm just very quick to apologize when I know that I've done something wrong. And in addition to that, I'm also quick to apologize in the interest of helping to save somebody else's ego, right? My ego is not so great that I feel that I have to try and deflate the ego of somebody else, right? And what I mean by that, and I've talked about this before, is like, let's say Tom, like you and I were hanging out, and you called me like a mean name. You were like, "Oh, you fucking bitch," and I was like, imagine you said that to me and you pissed me off, right? And I got upset, and I was like, "Yo, shut the fuck up. Don't fucking talk to me like that." Like if I all of a sudden got like that, let's say you heard me, you saw that I was upset, and you were like, "Oh, yo, my bad, dude. I don't know what came over me. I really shouldn't have said that. You know, that wasn't cool of me." Right? Now, I haven't actually done anything to you. I've just stuck up for myself. I stood up and I was like, "Hey, I won't." I stood up and I said, "I won't stand for this." Right? Um, I haven't actually done anything wrong to you, but I did raise my voice. I did raise my voice. And I'm not saying that raising your voice is always a bad thing. I'm not saying standing up for yourself and like just, being stern with somebody is always a bad thing. But I recognize that it probably made you feel a little bit uncomfortable, right? And after you apologize to me, I will accept the apology and then I will say, all right, thank you. I'll say, hey, you see what I'm talking about? I'm having a hard time tonight. Bottom line, if you called me a bitch and I got pissed off about it and I was like, hey, don't fucking talk to me that way, and you apologize to me, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to be like, all right, it's cool. Let's forget about it. Thank you for apologizing, and I'm sorry that I raised my voice too, right? Not because I have to, not because I've genuinely done something wrong or anything like that, but simply because it's good form, right? It's something nice to do to show somebody that you genuinely don't mean to keep the bullshit going. You don't want the beef that just erupted to keep on going. That you truly don't want this person to feel embarrassed, that you don't want them to feel as though you are wrathful towards them or anything like that. You want them to feel as though the situation occurred, we have dealt with it, and it is now past, and we can move on with it, right? That's the way that I apologize. In addition to that, apologies are freeing. It's a very freeing thing when you apologize, because here's the thing, right? This is one of those things you would see on I'm 14 and This Is Deep, right? But I saw this comic years ago and it floats around and I see it every now and again, but there's like a hand and it's grasping a rope, right? It's grasping something, right? And it's really like grasping hard and it's red and like, there's burns and stuff like that. And it's like the caption said something like uh sometimes you have to let go for your own sake or some shit like that, right? And of course, it ends up showing the moment the person lets go and now their hand is fine, right? Um, it's kind of that, if that makes sense, right? Instead of sitting here and holding on to my ego to the point where I end up causing a fight over something that chances are like was my fault anyway, and even if it wasn't, who gives a shit, right? Instead of causing a fight, instead of keeping something going that doesn't have to be kept going, I just apologize and I say, "Oh, I didn't know that made you uncomfortable. I'm sorry, dude. Oh, my bad. I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. Oh shit, I didn't mean to hurt you. Yo, my bad, dude. I wouldn't ever want to do something like that because that's the truth. I don't want to just hurt people. I don't want to be cruel to people. I don't want to be mean. I know I can be mean, right? But I don't want to be mean just for no reason, right? Um, it's kind of a situation where you let things go and you apologize and you move on, and everything's a lot better. Instead of causing a giant blowout between you and the person when they expect an apology out of you that just further damages the relationship and proves that you are an asshole and you are also unreliable and things like that. Instead of doing that, you just go, "Hey, my bad. I didn't mean it. Sorry." And you just move on. That's it, right? Um, Firmly grasp it. Yes. Um, what's going on? What's going on, Raymond? Ramon? What's going on, Spicy Pickle? What up, bro? Have you used the winning gloves that Sam gifted you on Fish Tank? I have a couple of times. The thing about the winning gloves, right, is that I only bust them out for special occasions. All right. And the reason for that is because I want to take very good care of those things. Because if you see the price tag on them, you will be like, "Holy shit! I didn't know they make gloves that are that expensive." They do. They do. Um, yeah, that was really generous of him. I'm not good at receiving gifts. I always feel like I'm not. I don't show enough gratefulness, right? I've always been awkward when somebody does something good for me, right? I'm always awkward when somebody does something good for me. When they give me a gift or something like that, I kind of like tense up. It's because like I'm not good with emotion. Um, it's not that I'm stunted. It's not that I bottle it up or anything like that. It's just I don't know how to show gratefulness without feeling like I'm being a weirdo about it. You know, like he gave like imagine if he gave me the gloves and I just started crying, right? That'd be so like gross on my end, right? Imagine if he gave them to me and I was just like, whoa, like a kid who got an Xbox 360 for Christmas in like 2007. You know, that'd be like really weird. I would feel really weird. Um, so yeah, like I'm still very grateful for Sam for giving me those gloves, and that's part of the gratefulness is that I'm not just gonna destroy them. I'm not busting them out every day. I save them for occasions where, for one thing, I'm just like I haven't used them in a while. I'll take them out for a spin today, right? Or maybe there's gonna be sparring, and I'm like, what, let's use the winning gloves, things like that. In fact, you know what? I might use them next week. I might just say fuck it and use them next week, maybe for some bag work or if we get some sparring in or something like that. I might as well grab them for next week. Oh man. Um. Well. Oh man. Oh yeah. Tom H says so. Scott, what do I do about these hoes my friends are trying to hook me up with after a bad breakup? Just don't. Oh, excuse me. Jeez. Just don't. It's that simple. Like your friends, they're gonna try and hook you up with these hoes. Just be like, yo, dude, I'm not interested. I want to be alone for a little while. Just be straight up with your boys. Just be like, yo, like it's all good. For one thing, part of the I don't know what the details of your breakup were. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Uh, I don't know how long ago it was. I don't know how many times a week your friends trying to get you to fuck some hoes and things like that. I'm not sure, right? But uh, part of the reason they might be trying to do that could potentially be that you have changed a little bit. Now, I don't mean like when I say changed, what I mean is, are you moping around? Can you not stop talking about your ex, whether it's good or bad? Excuse me, burping up my dinner, like I said. Are you able to chill with them without it turning into something where you're like fucking women, right? Like it can it like is that what it is? Because if that's what it is, then like the obvious answer is to just not like do that, right? But in addition to that, you're also gonna have to talk. You're gonna have to have a talk with your friends and be like, look, I know not doing so hot because of the breakup. I don't want to be having I don't want to be having casual sex with a bunch of fucking women, dude. Like, please stop sending these chicks my way. Stop trying to wingman for me. I'm not interested in it. I just kind of got to be a little bit fucked up for a while. And I'm going to try to make sure that I don't scare the hoes for you guys, right? I'm not gonna scare the women off, right? I'll try to make sure that I'm not sitting here harping on women because I'm angry, right? Just please, just don't keep trying to get me to have sex with these women, dude. Please, I'm begging you, you know. Um, Avoid intimate relationships like the plague if the only thing they want is fun time, happy time. Agreed. Yes, 100%. Is it Raymond or Ramon? I'm not sure. Also, is your last name Mendoza by any chance? I don't know if you're one of my old boys. One of the old boys. One of the members of the old boys club. Um, Happened like 2 months ago, by the way. I also hate talking about it, but solid advice. Thanks, my man. Yeah, no problem. You know, here's the thing, right? Your friends aren't always gonna be that good for you, right? Um, Even if they think that they're gonna be good for you, they may not always be good for you, right? Like I'm sure that back when I was hanging out with the stoner friends, right? They didn't want anything bad to happen to me, right? And because of that, they would do things that really weren't that good for me at the time, but they thought, hey, this would be good for him, right? Um, but bottom line, like your friends may be trying to help, but they don't quite understand what you need. All right, bottom line, and sometimes you just got to sit down and be like, yo, I don't like that. Stop that. Knock that off. Anyway, um, are they Onnit gloves? My homie has a pair and he broke out the big bucks. No, they are winning gloves because we are winners here. Wacky Iraqi says, you watching UFC tomorrow? Me and the boys waking up at 9 a.m. for it. Oh, man. Is it really that early? Because if it's that early, I'm literally gonna be at the gym for I'm gonna be at the gym for the fights then. So there is a potential that I will miss it. Somebody said something earlier that I wanted to get to, but oh yeah, Wacky Iraqi also said that Saenchai is fighting for them next month. He's not just fighting; he's fighting Buakaw, which is crazy. I wish this fight happened 10 years ago, but the fact that it's happening at all is really cool. This is like uh picture Mayweather Pacquiao, except Mayweather doesn't run away, and Pacquiao isn't getting to the point where he's past his prime. Think of it that way, right? Um, I'm trying to think of what else. I, I, I don't know what to I don't know what to compare it to. Right, it's just crazy, and I'm sure most, if not all of you, know about Buakaw, right? I'm not trying to like be like, oh yeah, Buakaw, you don't know who that is, right? That's not what I'm trying to do. It's just like it's crazy that that's going to happen, and that's probably going to be a fight that I end up watching. I forgot that it was going to happen next month. That's my birthday month, so happy birthday to me. But I'm definitely going to end up watching it. You should look up old timey Southern street fighting. Eye gouging was part of the style. Grew out their nails for it. This is WizBiz who said that. By the way, hello WizBiz. I don't believe you've been on the channel before. You're probably not even here anymore. Yeah, they call that rough and tumble. That's the rule set. They literally call it rough and tumble. You're allowed to eye gouge. You're allowed to bite. Basically, it's just no rules fighting. And there is a modern iteration of that over in Europe. It's called King of the Streets, and I actually did a video on them. I don't have any issue with them existing because at the end of the day, like if two grown men want to make decisions about themselves and what they partake in, then I'm not going to say no, right? As long as as long as they keep it in the bedroom, right? No, fucking if two guys, right, if two adults want to fight with no rules, then hey, it's whatever, bro. I don't care. I wouldn't partake in it, right? And it's not something that I think should be like hella mainstream or anything like that. I don't think that's a good thing, and I don't think they want to be mainstream. I don't think that's their goal. I don't think that's their aim. Their brand is very much we're underground. We don't show our faces. The you couldn't really call him a referee, promoter, right? I guess the promoter, the closest thing to it. He wears a mask. He keeps his identity private because these are illegal, like to the highest degree. And when somebody does end up inevitably dying in one of the matches, right? Fucking knock on wood too, because I really hope it doesn't happen. But I mean, let's be honest here. No rules fighting on concrete. Yeah. When somebody does end up dying, there's going to be a criminal investigation, and there's going to be a lot of people who end up going down for that. So, yeah, good luck to them if and when that does happen, and I really hope it doesn't. You know, I wouldn't want someone to die, right? That'd be fucked up. Anyway, uh, oh, Ramon. Okay. Yeah. I have a buddy who goes by the name Ramon Mendoza, so I was like, oh, okay, fucking, maybe this is him. You know, he has like a million different YouTube accounts, and I was like, oh, hey, happy to have you here, though, Ramon. Um, the main card isn't until 2 p.m. Oh, all right, then I'll be able to watch that. You know, I should be able to watch it with the wife too. You know, I forget who's fighting. I know it's Islam, but who's fighting? It's Islam. Oh, Islam versus Volk too. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to tune in for that. And then Hamzat versus Kamaru Usman, which is an interesting fight. And what's gonna really make it interesting is the fact that Usman is a I said Usman, I feel like, and then I said Usman. It's whatever comes out first. Usman is a D1 wrestler, if I remember correctly. He's a very good wrestler. He out wrestled Tyron Woodley, who was also a very talented wrestler in his own right. You know, we're talking like elite level wrestling here. So to have Hamzat, who he also is an elite level wrestler, but keep in mind that he is the Swedish national champion, right? And I'll explain the significance of that in a second. Um, when it comes down to it, you know, assuming Usman is healthy, I'm going to assume that Usman's going to be able to stuff the takedown. Now, to my understanding, Hamzat does have a little bit more stand up than, say, Habib did, right? And I know Hamzat is Chechen, right? But at the end of the day, I think Usman could beat him. I really do. You know, it's going to be an interesting fight for sure, and I want to see what ends up happening. You know, I don't like Usman, but honestly, I would rather see him win than Hamzat. You know, I'm not really impressed by Hamzat. He almost got starched by Gilbert Burns, who Usman also almost got starched by Gilbert Burns, which is hilarious because Gilbert Burns is not a robust striker. He's not that good of a striker. You know, he's got power, right? But he just throws ham hocks at you. That's really it. You know, um, people sitting there saying that Usman has good striking and he almost gets starched by fucking Burns. You know, and then Hamzat also ends up being made to look very human by Gilbert Burns as well. It's going to be a very interesting fight, you know. I think that Kamaru could very well make Hamzat look human if he doesn't end up winning, right? Gilbert Burns is a monster, to be fair. Oh yeah, Gilbert Burns is really good, but again, if we're talking about technique here, if we're talking on a technical level, his striking leaves something to be desired, at least in uh, the Usman fight, you know. I'd say it stays on the feet, similar to Usman versus Colby. Usman's wrestling is better, in my opinion. Yeah, like Usman could very well end up taking Hamzat down, right? And I ended up saying that I'd explain the significance of Swedish wrestling. I'm gonna look something up first, though. I'm curious. Um, Sorry, I'm just looking something up real quick. Uh, I want to figure something out here. Okay. And you know what? I'll go ahead. Um, I'm trying to prove a point here. All right, trying to prove a point. Oh man, do they not have a? Do they not have a? Do they not have a? Man, I hate it when they don't just tell you, right? I hate it when they don't just tell you the statistics. All right, okay. Um, Jeez, dude. I can't, dude. I can't stand this shit. I don't need a full breakdown. I just need how many medals the United States has in wrestling, right? That's all I wanted. Okay, I'm trying to prove a point here about Swedish wrestling versus American wrestling. That's all I'm trying to do. That's all I'm trying to do, right? And again, fucking, dude. Wait a second. Did I see Pyongyang? Did I see fucking Pyongyang? What? Wow. Okay. North Korea medaled in 1980. That's pretty crazy. Look, I'm sitting here trying to find. I'm sitting here trying to find fucking medal totals. It's not working out, right? The bottom line is Sweden, right? They have 28 gold. They have 86 medals, right? Sweden has 86 medals in wrestling in over 100 years of competition, right? Medals by Summer Games, right? 1896 was the first Olympic Games that is recognized by this whatever it's called, this this table that I'm looking at right now. In fact, I'll go ahead right here we are. So wrestling, okay, 86 medals total, right? Most of them were bronze medals. Okay, so it's not horrible, right? Let's go ahead and see how many medals the United States has. Okay, I'm just curious about it, right? USA Wrestling Olympic medals. The United States has won 129 medals in wrestling at the Olympics, which is fourth among all U.S. sports programs in the Olympics. Okay, I'm just curious again. Dude, it ain't working out, all right? It ain't working out, and it's because Wikipedia is trying too fucking hard to tell you every little fact instead of just giving you a fucking, like this, wrestling facts, right? Let's go ahead. Of course. This is the thing I can't fucking stand about the internet, right? You look something up, and it gives you all the information, right? It gives you all the fucking information that you don't need. It gives you all the info that you don't fucking need about everything, right? It's just insane. But the point that I was trying to make, right, is that Swedish wrestling, right, is not going to be the same as Olympic wrestling. Okay? Sweden does not have the same kind of wrestling culture that we have, right? The major players in wrestling are the United States, Iran, Russia, right? And you know, any Russian whatever, right? There's a couple more if I remember correctly, right? Sweden is not one of those. So I'm not saying that getting bronze in the Olympics is like a bad thing. You're missing the point, Jack. If you're gonna assume that I'm saying that like they only got bronze, no, that's a very good thing. The point that I'm making is that Sweden's wrestling culture does not produce the same as the United States, right? The United States produces wrestlers. Sweden does not produce wrestlers, right? When it comes down to it, at least not in the way the United States does, right? I was hoping to be able to compare two fucking numbers and show you breakdowns and shit like that. But like I said, there is this thing. Get out of here, Avast One. There's this fucking thing with it where they fucking, like I said, they show you all the info that you don't need. Bottom line, like, is Hamzat a really good wrestler? I would assume he is, but I just don't know if he's going to be able to stand up to somebody who comes from the United States, grew up in that wrestling culture, and has made it to the Olympics, or is even just like a D1 competitor or anything like that. I'm not so sure that Hamzat's wrestling is really going to play into it. And I'm curious to see if Usman decides, you know what, I know my wrestling is going to be better than his, so I think I'll shoot in, right? And that's the type of thing that Usman does, right? Is he just, if you're a striker, he automatically defaults to taking you down. if you are a wrestler, he automatically defaults to trying to strike with you, right? I'm wondering if he'll be like, okay, so the gap is so big between me and him that I will just say fuck it and take him down. I'm wondering if that's gonna end up fucking what's it called? Um, yeah, fucking. I'm trying to catch up on the chat here. I'm curious to see if Usman will end up, just deciding, hey, I know I'm much better than this guy, so I'll just take him down, right? I do believe Russia has the most golds for wrestling. Russia, we actually had a hard time dealing with Russia for a while, and that's where Foxcatcher came from. Foxcatcher, if you don't know the story behind Dave Schultz and the Foxcatcher wrestling program, it's pretty bizarre, pretty strange. So yeah, there's that. Yeah, Russia is just insane. Bottom line. I agree about Usman. Never cared for him, but would rather see him humble Chimaev. Hamzat hasn't really fought anybody. His best win was when he missed weight by 8 pounds and fought Kevin Holland. Yeah, and that it makes it really crazy that they decided to say, "Hey, Sean Strickland, you should fight Chimaev." That's like crazy. That is insane. He's a champion now, and Dana's like, "Hey, fight Chimaev." Like, fuck off, Dana. Dana really likes to try and fuck certain guys over, and Sean Strickland is going to be one of those guys. And it's a good thing Sean isn't going to fucking play that shit. Slavic people are superior wrestlers. They train every day, don't they? Yeah, I mean, shit. Here's the thing, right? Fucking Russia is not Sweden. That's the point that I'm making. All right. I bet you if I went to Jamaica, if Jamaica decided to cobble together a wrestling program and I went to Jamaica, I'd win their Olympic trials and I'd be able to represent them in the Olympics. Right? Let's be honest here. Jamaica isn't really known for wrestling. Their wrestling program probably ain't that great. If they even have one, they probably don't. In fact, I would let's check it out, right? Does Jamaica compete in freestyle wrestling? History of Jamaican wrestling, Ocho Rios Wrestling Club. Okay, I'm curious about this, right? So, the Jamaican wrestling team started in 1975. That's when they began. They don't have that culture built up. I guarantee you, if I trained for like a year and I went to Jamaica, I could probably end up, like again, Alex Raptis fails to qualify Jamaica wrestling for the 2000 Summer Olympics. You see, like they don't even qualify for the Summer Olympics in wrestling because they're just not good enough, right? And I'm not saying Jamaica will never be good enough. I'm just saying that their wrestling program is not that good. So if I went down to Jamaica and I decided, you know what, I want to be a wrestler, right? I want to wrestle for Jamaica. I would probably be very high up in that country in their wrestling program. That's just how it would be. I'd get smoked most likely when I try to qualify for the Olympics, right? But I do pretty well because they don't have that wrestling culture, right? The competition is not going to be the same in Jamaica. And that's the point that I'm trying to make, right? Is that you can be a dog shit wrestler from the United States and go to Somalia and have some warlord build a wrestling program around you. And you could be the best wrestler in Somalia. You could be the Somali national champ. Think about that. What if I was the Somali national champ? And I went around and I used that to try and get into the UFC, right? I decided I'd also start building MMA in Somalia, right? I start building MMA in Somalia. We get some stuff going, and I start beating the shit out of random pirates in a fucked up cage in Somalia. And Dana White's like, hey, whatever, I guess we'll give him a shot. Imagine if I started walking around after my like 10-0 record against dudes that are like malnourished right? And I started talking about, oh yeah, I'm the Somali national champ in men's freestyle. Did you know that? Did you know that? National champ, Somalia. Like, that's the point that I'm trying to make. Is that would not be the same if I was to sit here and be like, aha, yeah, I'm a D1 wrestler, but I'm on the low end, right? That's the point that I'm kind of trying to make. Is wrestling is not the same everywhere you go, just like Muay Thai is not the same everywhere you go. You know, if you go to Thailand, you're gonna get really, really, really good fucking Muay Thai. Even there, some of the worst guys in Thailand could go and tear it up in other parts of the world. You know, and they don't for one reason or another. You know, I don't know why. You know, um, they just don't, right? Um, it's just the way things work, right? It's just the way things work with certain places where there's a big culture based around one sport. You know, it's like or another example, right? Imagine David Beckham, right? I remember it was big news. David Beckham, he was a big star for a while, and then he ended up coming over to America and he played in Major League Soccer. Major League Soccer is where careers go to die. Like literally, when you're not competitive in the European League anymore, right? Or leagues. I feel like there's multiple. I don't know shit about soccer on that level. I know to support Celtic FC, and that's it, right? Because I'm an Irish weeaboo. Anyway, when you're not good enough to be competitive in the European leagues anymore, you fly over to America and you make money, um, playing in the American League, right? Playing in Major League Soccer. That's the point that I'm trying to make. You know, does Somalia even have sports? Yeah, I would assume they do. It's just their sports would be more gladiatorial. You know, they probably bet on like death matches and shit like that. Bro, the fact they disrespected Strickland like that is sickening. Yes, yes. You know, um, it's just gross. And again, this is one of the reasons why I'm not so quick to fight again. And I'm not saying that I'm not fighting. I'm literally losing weight so that next year I can fight, right? But I'm realizing that you get treated like a whore. You could say what you want about Anissa, but she was right when she said that the fight game is like porn for men, right? The way that women get treated in porn is the way that men get treated in the fight world, you know? And women get treated very well in the fight world. You can make it to the UFC on like a 2-0, 3-0 record, right? If you do really good and you got the look and there's enough buzz around you, they'll pick you right up. That ain't happening if you're a dude. Like women actually get treated a lot better than men do, and it's partially because they're women and people want to treat them good, but it's also a scarcity thing. There's less women in combat sports, right? But men, there's so many men in combat sports nowadays, and the UFC has so much control over the market and things like that that you basically have no choice but to get treated like a whore. And it truly is like it truly is disgusting. I know of multiple guys who were given like debuts. They were given debuts on 2 weeks notice. Chris Mutino is one of them, right? If you'll recognize, if you don't recognize the name, you'll recognize the face, right? I'll go ahead. Of course, it's gonna be fucking stupid. It's gonna be fucking dumb, but you guys can see it anyway, right? You remember this fucking guy from a couple years ago? Of course, you can't. Oh, it's over here. Usually, it blows up bigger. That's why I was like, it's not fucking doing it. This guy right here, right? This is Chris Mutino. He's from my region. I actually fought one of his best friends. Fucking, I know one of his best friends, right? Chris seems like a cool guy. We don't really talk like that, I don't think we've ever actually had like a legitimate conversation or anything like that. But yeah, it seems like a cool guy, right? He got offered a fight with Sean O'Malley on 2 weeks' notice, and he gives him the toughest fight of his career to date, right? Just absolutely like crazy tough, like one of the toughest guys I've seen in the octagon. His next fight, he gets thrown down to the prelims, right? After he made a name for himself for being extra fucking tough. Dana kicks him down to the prelims. There is a controversial stoppage, And then Dana's like, yeah, get him the fuck out of here. They fucking shit canned him. They refused to I don't know if he had another fight on his they released him, bottom line, right? They didn't bring him back. There's another guy I know of. His name's Don Shanis. They brought him in to fight a dude who was ranked top 15, right? He ends up getting blown out because he had 2 weeks notice to get ready for a top 15 guy. And then they end up doing the same fucking thing. They kick him down to the prelims. He doesn't end up winning his next fight. They shit can him, right? Like, that's the type of shit where it's like, yo, I'm not interested in that shit, you know? Oh, Dambe boxing. We'll look that up in a second, dude. That shit's crazy. I've actually wanted, you know what? I gotta plan that one day. I gotta plan a stream for what do I gotta plan? What do I gotta do, guys? What is it that I gotta do? Um, I gotta plan a day where we look at African martial arts. We'll look at Dambe after this, right? But we'll have a day. Maybe it'll be next week. Maybe we'll do next Friday or something like that. We'll do an African martial arts stream. We'll react to African martial arts. Anyway, yeah, it's just disgusting the way that people get treated in the fight world, you know, and that's why I'm gonna be very careful about when I do fight, because it's from the bottom all the way to the top, right? I'll be honest with you. There's a lot of shitty stuff. Sometimes it's the promoters, sometimes it's the guys that are fighting. I got set up in my first match, and not because the promoter was a scumbag, but because the guy that I was fighting was a scumbag, you know. He lied about his experience. And I was too naive, you know. There were multiple guys that dude was offered to, and all these people did research on him, and they were like, nah, I don't want to fight that guy. You got anybody else? And then he got offered to me, and I did not have good guidance. I did not have the guidance that I needed, right? And because of that, I was just like, yeah, sure, I'll fucking fight him. Yeah, that's all good. Got my ass beat because I was fighting a guy who I should not have fought. I was fighting a guy who lied about his experience so that he could get as easy of a fight as he could, you know? And, well, that was an easy fight for him. That's just how it is. If I can track down the footage, I will, and we'll we won't react to it here. I'm doing it on my Patreon, right? You should sub to my Patreon. Patreon.com/Scott Sullivan. There's going to be there is already a bunch of good stuff on there, but there's going to be more good stuff on there as well. It's only $5 a month. You know, I would really appreciate it. Tired of having a job, damn it. Tired of having a job. I need pay piggies. Pay me now. No. But there is cool stuff on my Patreon if you want to check that out. I uploaded the full interview with a Satanist on there this week. Geez, I'm trying to get more interviews with Satanists. I am trying to put together an interview with a skinhead, a white power skinhead. I already have it, right? It's just that he didn't want to be on camera in any capacity. So what I have to do is I have to take his answers and I have to hire a voice actor to voice the answers for me, right? So it might be a little bit wonky, but the answers that he gave me are actually really interesting. It's really interesting to talk to this guy because one of the things that you see with skinheads and anyone who's right wing, a lot of what you see from them, I've noticed, is they leave whatever they were involved with. They leave like their group or whatever it is, and they end up, instead of just being like a normal person, they decide, you know what? Now I'm a commie. I was a Nazi, but now I'm a communist. Like, they just go from one extreme to another. And because of that, you can't get honest answers out of them because they're not trying to give you real answers to questions that you ask them. They're just trying to be a propaganda piece, you know? That's what they are, right? And that's what happens with these weirdos. I noticed there's these like de-radicalization things and stuff like that you see from left-wing groups, and it's kind of fucking weird because it's not that it's actual like de-radicalization or anything like that. What it really is that what it really is that they're just trying to I tried to say use and utilize you at the same time. They're just trying to utilize you for their own political purposes. They're not actually interested in getting you to like be a better person or anything like that. Like the first thing they do is say, "All right," they give you a pen and paper and they're like, "All right, write down all the names you know. Write down all the activities you were involved in. This, that, the other thing." Right? It's very scumbaggish, you know. American History X is a good movie to watch about that, right? Because you have a kid, right? And I don't condone any of it, but you have this kid who like he was misguided um in multiple ways by multiple people, right? And he ends up having a traumatic experience happen to him, and in order to cope with that traumatic experience, he turns to something that he feels would have helped him to avoid having to go through that traumatic experience with his father being shot. You know, spoiler alert here, right? Um, and he ends up going to prison after he commits a heinous murder in defense of his property, mind you, right? These people were trying to, if I remember correctly, break into his house in the movie, right? But he took it way too far, and he shouldn't have done what he did. You know, it was obviously a heinous crime in the movie, right? And they had to make it a heinous crime because if he just shot two people trying to break into his house, people wouldn't be like, "Oh, that's not a good guy," right? But he ends up getting raped in prison, and his teacher, who was cool to him, who was a cool guy, a nice cool guy back in high school when he knew Vineyard, right? Because that's his name is Vineyard. He knew Vineyard back in high school, back when he was just a starry-eyed kid who was really into Malcolm X and things like that. And instead of being like, "Hey, this is a kid who had some really fucked up shit happen to him, and because of that, he went down a path that he wouldn't have gone down if that fucked up shit didn't happen to him. I should view this person with some empathy. I should empathize with this person a little bit and not condone what they have done, but also understand where it comes from. And I should treat them with a little bit of respect here and a little bit of love, right?" Instead of thinking that way, he just walks in and he's like, "You're going to do this for me." Talking to him like he's an absolute scumbag piece of shit who just decided to shave his head one day because he felt like it, you know? Um, it's really it's really just fucked up, you know. The way the left wing, they say they try to de-radicalize people, it's like you're not doing that, you're just utilizing people and then discarding them, and they're not any better than they were before. The only way that this person can be of any use to you is if they keep deciding to either A, snitch on their old pals, or B, be a propaganda piece for you, right? And because of that, they're going to stop being useful, and you're probably going to end up burning them in some way, or they're going to have to keep sitting here and going on a perpetual self-flagellating tour where they're like, "Yes, I was evil, I'm the worst, this, that, the other thing," right? It's truly disgusting, right? If you're like virulent in any way, just stop being virulent. It's literally that simple. Just knock it off. Just stop being that way. It's that simple, you know? Um oh man, I gotta crack my back, or I am gonna crack my back. By the way, I would appreciate if you guys would like the stream if you haven't already. We are gonna check out Dombe in a second. I just want to read some stuff. What's going on, New Drobs? Um uh Man, them wrestlers from Rhode Island be taking it hard on the mat. Dude, that'd be crazy. Um I'm just looking around. Yep, nope, I'm all caught up. All right. I should interview Hammer, Chris Polhouse. Who is that? Is that another skinhead? Skinheads and anyone who's right wing. That seems like a bit of a false equivalence. I don't quite understand what you mean. Are you one of those people who's like, "Oh, skinheads are socialists, therefore they're not right wing"? Like, I'm not gonna sit here and argue about it. Like, if that's what you think, that's cool, whatever, right? It doesn't really matter to me. Like, at the end of the day, the right wing, right? has been associated with skinheads and vice versa, and the left treats them exactly the same. So I don't see why we got to sit here and be like, oh man, the false equivalents. Skinheads aren't right wing. They're Nazis, and Nazis are socialists, and blah 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 blah. You know, I get the argument. I understand it. I just don't care that much about it. And like I feel that I'm getting too political right now as is. Like I don't like talking politics. It's pointless in the year 2023, right? It ain't 2016 anymore, right? It's 2023. Let's live in the now. It's the current year, guys, okay? It's the current year. All right? We don't talk politics. It's 2023, all right? No, I just don't see what good can really come of it. But if we're talking the meta that surrounds politics, right? That's kind of one thing, and that's kind of what American History X is when you're talking about it in the way that I was trying to. It's not that I'm actually trying to talk about the political ramifications of American History X. We're going beyond that. We're talking about just the human, just the face-to-face aspects of American History X. Anyway, American History X, good movie. If he just shot the first dude, it's legally okay, but he chose to shoot and curb stomp the fleeing perps. Anyway, who you rooting for, Hamzat or Usman? Islam versus Volk. I mean, I guess Usman and Volk, I guess. Hammer leads a big white power group. Which group? Here's the thing, right? I don't want to give a platform to anyone. And I know this sounds like Hassan talk, right? What I mean by this is I don't want to give and I mean this for everybody. I'm not doing this to give people a platform to try and spread their ideas, right? So if I end up talking to a guy and I feel like his whole thing is just that he's trying to have a sermon about whatever it is that he is a part of or anything like that, then it's going to be a no-go. And if it's some dude who's the leader of a white power group that is still currently going on, chances are I'm not going to be interested because he's just going to be sitting there saying, the white race is under attack. The white race, the whites. Italians aren't white. They're gonna be like saying weird shit like that, and I'm just gonna be like, all right, that's cool and all, but like, can you answer the questions, please? Please, excuse me. No, I'm just saying that there's a lot of daylight between milquetoast Republicans and Nazis. Well, yeah, of course there is, but at the end of the day, it's all right wing, right? Anyway, the React thing in the chat window pisses me off. Anyone else annoyed by this? Oh, dude, I can't stand it. I get so many chats when the chat is going slow. Like I see a chat pop up and I'm like, "Oh, new chat. Cool." And then fucking like Tom H, right? His message. I'll read you what his message looked like. I'll read you what the message looked like. It said, oh yeah, the fucking React butt chat is infuriating, lol. And butt like ass butt, right? That's what it looked like because the reaction button is in the way. It's fucking annoying. It's fucking annoying as shit. The old political podcasts from 2016 are like Tony Ferguson now, totally washed, should have retired years ago. Yeah, oh yeah, I remember Chapo Trap House was huge, right? I never listened to them. Because I know that they're like shit lib, like wannabe socialists, but fucking yeah, like Chapo fucking they were huge, and then the 2020 election happened, and then there was no need for them anymore, and now like when's the last time you heard anyone talk about Chapo Trap House? Like nobody cares, didn't one of their fucking co-hosts die? Like I'm not saying that to like dunk on him or anything like that. That's really sad if he died. That's not good. I don't want anyone to die like that. But like these guys, that's the last time anyone heard about Chapo Trap House is when one of their guys like collapsed randomly and seemed to have a heart attack. Right? That's the last time anyone gave a fuck about them. That was like a couple weeks ago too, if I remember correctly. Anyway. Uh, e- uh, uh, um, uh, Andy says Hassan is tough against people smaller than him, but gets scared of the Candyman. Yes, sir. That is something we know very well. Um, I saw a white babe with a black dog yesterday. America has truly fallen. Um, oh, they're called. Oh, I know about Blood Tribe. Yeah, yeah, I know about Blood Tribe. Hmm. Yeah, no, no, I'm not interested in that. I think, nah, nah. I couldn't interview him. Nah, there's no way. Because he would make it a giant sermon about he would make it a giant sermon about his whole his ideology, and he'd be sitting here constantly trying to tell me like oh, you should join, we need young Aryans like yourself, you should join Blood Tribe. And then he'd figure out I'm dating, geez, I'm married to a brown woman. And like only one of two things happen in that situation. Either one, he would be like, "Oh, well, you fucking race mixer. You should divorce her and get married to a white woman, a nice white Aryan woman, not one of them Italians. You know, none of them Italians. Nuh-uh. You know, the Irish are okay, but only over the last 50 to 100 years. You know, you know, fucking. That's what would end up happening. Shit. What was I gonna say? Or what would end up happening is he would then turn around and he'd try and be like, oh no, that's fine, no, that's fine, yeah, totally, you can be in our white nationalist group with your brown wife, with your not white wife. He'd try and play it off like he's cool with it, right? Like it's all good, he's fine with it, but he's really not. He's not okay with it. You know, that's what would end up happening. He would be trying to recruit me, and then he would also be trying to turn it into a sermon for his group, and that's not what I'm trying to do. Um, that's the thing that I appreciated about the Satanist that I interviewed, Moon. If you see that interview, he's not sitting here trying to give a sermon about his beliefs. He's just telling me what he believes. That's it. There is no, hey, you should try Satanism. None of that. You know, we respected each other, and I appreciate that. And I want to keep in contact with him because he's a cool dude. You know. Um, Tom H said, didn't one of them die recently? Yeah, yeah. Talking about Chapo Trap House. Yeah, like I'm pretty sure one of them did die recently. That's fucked up. Ah, geez, dude. You want me to join your white supremacy group, dude? Your white supremacy group? Bro, fucking, my wife is fucking brown, dude. Bro, like, I can't even do that, bro. My wife ain't fucking white, bro. Our kids are gonna be like tan at best, dude. Ah, jeez, bro. Ah, dude. Anyway, speaking of which, my brown wife is home. I hear her speaking in her brown language. That's a funny thing that people forget, that Portuguese and Spanish are European languages. What? What's up?
Oh, you left?
Yeah, I thought I told you.
Oh,
Oh, what's going on, brown wife?
sorry, I didn't know.
That's all right, babe. I don't think she realized what I called her.
I realized.
Oh, she realized. Anyway, um, shit. Where was I? Yeah, I'm not unless it's someone who's made real waves nationwide. Like I would interview the leader of Patriot Front, right? I would have no problem interviewing the leader of Patriot Front, but also because I have a feeling he probably is somebody I could speak to about the meta, right? And like I could be like, "So tell me about how you got started." And he would be like, "Oh yeah, so I was at this protest, and I did that, and I decided I'd start my own little thing, and 4 or 5, however long it's been, right? However many years later, here we are now, right? Um, I'd interview him, but I don't know if he'd want to be interviewed by me, you know? Um, Pray for Tony getting a Darce sub on Patty. Oh, is that happening tomorrow too? Is Tony versus Patty happening tomorrow too? Oh, dude, if it is, I gotta check that out. I really gotta make sure I check that out. I was thinking TRS, LMAO, but yeah, Chapo should retire too. Is TRS still a thing? Like I wasn't really big on the whole political podcasts and streams thing. I knew about Blood Sports, I knew about Warski, I knew about Ethan Ralph, right? You know, Blood Sports being the umbrella that they were under. You know, I knew about those guys, right? I knew a little bit about TRS, Golden One, things like that, right? And I knew about them because they were names that just got thrown around the sphere, right? Oh, excuse me. If you were on YouTube in 2015, 16, and 17, basically up to the adpocalypse, you know, you heard these names and stuff like that, you know? I couldn't imagine some of those names still being around. I feel like they don't have the staying power, and even if they do, it's like they're probably streaming to like 5 people. Not that I'm much better. All right? Although I do have twice as many viewers right now than they do. So, eat that, Ralph. All right? Ralphamania. I am a Medicare fan. I do like Medicare, right? He came back for a stream over the last like 2 to 3 months, if I remember correctly. He popped in. I'm really happy about that. You know, I hope he still continues to stream once or twice a year. You know, that'd be really cool. I hope he tries to make it a point to do that. But you know, I don't think he's getting better. I think he's probably at best just stable, and stable isn't always a good thing. It, you know, if you have AIDS, right? If you have HIV, but you're managing it with medication, you're stable, but you still got fucking HIV. You know, rather hear him getting better. You know. Anyway, oh yeah, I gotta look up Dombay Warriors, but you guys are saying good stuff. All right, yeah. So it's up. I'm not gonna forget it. I'm gonna take a look at a couple of these. Have you learned how to speak Brown? I know a little bit of Spanish. Spanish. Geez. Well, I do know a little bit of Spanish, but not enough as to where I'm conversational anymore. I do know a little bit of Portuguese. And I can understand when my wife is talking to other Portuguese speakers now. You know, I can understand it pretty well. You know, if I don't know the whole sentence, I'm able to get context clues. But me being able to speak it is not the you know, being able to speak it is you know, a little bit of a different story. Would you fight someone on meds for HIV? Someone that was taking meds. If they had reached remission and you paid me enough money, then yes, right? Because if you reach remission, then you can't. To my understanding, maybe it's a lie, right? Maybe it's one of those propaganda things. But to my understanding, once you reach remission, you cannot transfer it. You cannot give it to somebody else. So if they had reached remission and you paid me enough money to take the risk, then sure, I would. Because the thing is, fighting is a blood sport, but it doesn't always mean that you're going to bleed. It doesn't mean you're going to bleed and he's going to bleed and that blood is going to mix and it's going to end up being in your body and now you have HIV, right? Luckily today, HIV is not the death sentence that it used to be. And I'm not saying that means it's all good. I wouldn't want HIV, right? Obviously. But you know, there's progress on it, which is a really cool thing. Because I remember being in like the 5th grade and they started telling us about sexually transmitted diseases and stuff like that. Not necessarily in a sexual context, though they did say, hey, it can be spread through sex. What they didn't want us doing was doing blood brothers, which I guess is something people used to do years ago, I guess. You like prick your finger or like you cut your hand or something like that, and your buddy cuts their hand, and then you fucking mix the blood together and shit like that. And now you're blood brothers, right? It's a ritual, a very strange ritual. You know, it was more for things like that. They told us about HIV, and I was fucking terrified of that. You know, the idea of having an incurable infection of that type, where like there's nothing you can do about it. You know, it literally goes around what your body naturally does and just makes it so that it just doesn't work out, right? It's pretty crazy, you know. Um uh Would love to see all the neo-Nazis take a DNA test and see how they discuss who's still good enough to stay in the group. Is 3% African too much? LOL, Mike Perry. Yeah, yeah. Like that's the thing is like that's the funny thing too is that like it's not good enough that you're white. It's that you have to be a certain type of white for a lot of them, right? Like me as an Irish Catholic, right? Irish and Italian, mind you. I am also like Italian, you know. Not only am I Irish and Italian, but I'm also Catholic. Like these people who are like WASP Nazis, right? They wouldn't like me very much, you know, like the old school like fucking gur, right? A lot of them wouldn't like me very much, right? Anyway, um, you can't spread it if you're taking meds for it. I've been undetectable since 2016 and have kids. Good for you, Jack. I'm really happy to hear that, man. Um, After 2 decades, I know a little bit of Arabic. Nice, that's good, dude. Um, I'm glad someone finally explained HIV. Oh man. All right, so we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna check out Dombe Warriors. This is the craziest shit, right? Oh boy. Hmm. There we go. Uh, I'm trying to find a good one because some of these Dombe videos they start out mad slow, like annoyingly slow, you know. Oh hey, again, I found myself. Uh, oh Wendigang, Wendigoon is streaming. All right, whatever. We're gonna go ahead. Hold up, one sec. Oh shit, wrong one. There we go, kid. Oh nope, fuck. There we go. Okay. Look at this posture, dude. This is the African Chad Thundercock posture right here. KSI should join Dombe Warriors. He is Nigerian and he only spams the rear hand. He would still lose though. That would be pretty crazy to see KSI fly out to Nigeria and wrap his hand up with rope and just start throwing haymakers and things like that. All right. So this is Dombe Warriors. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna turn this down just a little bit to make sure I can actually talk over it. So you'll notice they basically have clubs for hands, right? Their hands are wrapped in rope, right? And there's a fist there. So as we can see, these gentlemen are taking their sweet time. Oh, all right. So that's so there isn't a lot of technique to this. I'll just tell you right away, but it is kind of funny to see, right? It's literally just I have a club, I'm gonna try and fucking hit you with it, you know? There is a tiny bit of technique that you can see. They use ooh, look at that. Hold on, we'll go ahead back, right? I was gonna say you see them kind of utilize the unroped, right? The untied hand a little bit, but overall it's really just a giant slugfest. We're gonna go ahead. All right, look at this. Step back, bang. In fact, you know what? We'll look at that in slow motion. That is see like that's good. Like that was good. I liked that, right? I don't even think he stepped. I think he just faded. Fade back. Oh, he didn't even have to fade back. This dude just threw and he was way out of range. And I think that really just kind of goes. I mean, look, this guy could be new, right? He could be a new guy. This could be his first fight. He might not be that good yet. But I think it really just shows the lack of training that these guys seem to go through, considering that only somebody who doesn't know how to fight would try and take a swing from that far out, right? He barely even tried to close distance. He just sort of went, what? He ended up getting bopped. Oh, okay. All right. Sorry, I got to fix this. And you can see the welt right here on his eye from one punch. Oh, another one looks like it landed. Coming around back. Oh, no punch to the back of the head. That was nice. That was sporting of the man. Jeez, hold up. What the fuck was that? You guys see this gentleman right here? Let's take a look at what he does. For one thing, he's got a stick in a bag. I wonder what's in the bag. And then he just decides he's gonna take a swing at this Dombeyed up guy right here. What the fuck was that for? That's a crazy part about Africa is they just like they just come from a culture where it's like they'll be in the middle of a fight and they'll just start arguing during the fight. Right? That's kind of the crazy thing about like Nigeria and shit like that. From what I've seen, you know, or like instead of being like, "Hey, knock that off," they're just like, "I'm gonna swing a club at you. I'm just gonna swing a club at you. That's what I'm gonna do. Instead of using my words, I'm just gonna try and fucking hit you, and you're gonna be cool with it. You're not gonna be like, yo, what the fuck?" Like if somebody came over to me and tried to get physical, it'd be a fight. It wouldn't be like, yo, he swung a club at me. Oh wow, all right. Anyway, moving on. It'd be no, oh, like, all right, I guess we're fighting now. You know. It's just funny. It's like it's a bit of a culture shock thing, right? They have enforcers who go around with a stick. The people have to stay in line. Yeah, I mean, shit, seems like it. I think he got too close and the ref told him to back off. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe he was inside the circle and he didn't realize or something like that, you know? Jack Torrance says bonk. All right, so seems like that's a break in the round, I guess. I don't know. I didn't know they had rounds. Oh, here comes boink. Boink. It's like their army where no matter if you do well, you still get whipped, so why even try? Yeah, that's very true. Ah, jeez, look at this fucking dude. Roping himself up. I'm pretty sure this guy's missing teeth. I could be wrong about that, but looks like he's missing teeth. All right. Looks like we're up for round 2 now. Mr. Bag. I really want to know what's in that bag, man. So it's very much just back and forth. They don't oh, it looks oh, well, he's routing him. I was gonna say it's very much just a back and forth battle about who's gonna hit who the most. It's not like there isn't really that much strategy. Fucking, it's just you come forward, I move back, I go forward, you move back. That's literally all that it is. And we're gonna check out some of the comments because I've actually watched this video before. You're gonna see how people try to rationalize this, right? Who are you guys rooting for? Oh. Who are you guys rooting for? I think I'm rooting for the red hair guy just because, you know, us gingers got to stick together. See, it's really strange to me that they're both bent over this way. Oh. And down. I was going to say, it's really strange to me, right, that they're both like this, right, that they're both bent over in the way that they are, because it restricts their movement, right? Now, the thing with that is it kind of creates an optical illusion, right? Where you're bent over like this, and it kind of looks like the person's closer than they actually are to you. That's something that Dominic Cruz was known for. It's really it's more of a boxing thing. You don't see a lot of kickboxers use it. But that was part of Dominic Cruz's footwork and stuff like that. And I use it sometimes, right? I still use it every now and again when I wanna just kind of bait somebody into something, right? But it makes it harder to move, right? It makes it harder. Like if he throws something that I absolutely have to react to, basically the only way I can try and go is back. And sure, like he might miss the first one, but when he steps in again and again, all of a sudden I can't go back anymore. I'm getting nailed while I'm off balance, right? You have to be able to move, right? Actually move. And they're kind of taking that away from themselves by starting in the stances that they're starting in. I don't know what the theory behind that is. That might have just been something they did for that fight specifically. Like one guy just did it, and the other guy was like, "Oh, I'll do it too," right? But it's just really it's really weird to me, you know. And it's like I said, there isn't much to this. It's just two guys throwing ham hocks at each other, or one ham hock at each other, right? And hey, it's entertainment, you know. You want to call it a sport? I can't argue. It's a sport, right? But it's not a science in the way that other martial arts are. You win this one with angles. It looks like. Oh wow. Are you saying that I would win this if I used angles, or are you saying that angles win? Because there's really not, they're not using angles. They're just going straight back and forth, you know? There's timing to it, right? Damn, he knocks you out and then he pats you on the head. Again, just African culture is like that. You do that here. If somebody knocked me out and then patted me on the head, we'd go out into the parking lot after that. Fucking anyway, yeah, like I'm not saying there's absolutely positively zero skill that goes into it. Like that was timing. Timing won that fight for this guy, right? For Redhead. All right, that's what happened at the end of the day. But it seems like that's his only skill set, if we're being honest. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead. You've got to have massive respect and honor between fighters to be able to feel you can turn away from an opponent at moment's notice like these guys do. No, I think it's just that they don't know any better, so they just turn around and then turn back. I think they don't think of it as something bad to do. I think that they have never been taught how to actually fight and what a good and bad move to make is, right? It's not a respect thing. Although I will say, I don't know how many rules there are to this game. I don't know if punching to the back of the head is actually illegal or not. So I did see one guy who clearly had the ability, right? He clearly had the ability to punch the other dude in the back of the head, and he just decided against it, right? So that's nice, you know, that's respectful, that's honorable, right? But this is kind of what they try to do with Dambe. They take these things that they don't happen on purpose. They happen because these guys are not good at fighting, right? They are not even amateurs, right? Well, they just try and make excuses for it. They try and say, "Oh, it's respect and honor," and it's like, no, it's that he got routed and he was like, "Fuck, I gotta get out of here." I'm really starting to dig this sport. The fighters don't look like they're out to hurt one another outright, just score hits. That is not to say it isn't brutal. There seems to be a deep sense of respect for each other as fighters. Groovy. Nah, they're definitely trying to actually fucking hurt each other. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? No, that's not what's happening. Fucking, it's just that when you have one fist and every time you end up going in, either A, the dude runs away, or B, the dude ends up tying up with you, it's kind of hard to really do much other than just try and get whatever the hell you can. They're just throwing fucking hamhocks at each other. I love this. That is so fierce, such brutality yet sportsmanship. I feel honored to behold these warriors. I mean, yeah, it's cool. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to be like, this fucking sucks. Like, you know, they're fighting. At the end of the day, it's not the best fight, but I feel like this guy is just trying too hard to get top comment by like kissing ass. You know, Mr. Black Flame 8893. Oh yeah, and this is you can see I disliked this fucking comment because I'm a hater. You see this style a lot in the UFC nowadays. It's very popular. Measuring and distance with the lead hand and sharp rifle-like shots with the spear hand. Power hand. Aaron Till, Gunnar Nelson, and Conor McGregor love this style. No, they don't. This is you're gonna tell me that Redhead and Short Stack over here. You're gonna tell me that these two fucking guys, they're revolutionizing the game with their style and Conor. What you're gonna tell me? Conor McGregor was in the mean streets of Lagos, and he happened upon this fucking shit. He's like, hey, a crowd of people around here. What's this going on? Oh, actually, in fact, I can see him. I can see him in the crowd right now. He's right here. He's right here. You see him? Oh no, wait. I don't see him. You don't either, because he wasn't fucking there. He didn't stumble upon Dambe, and all of a sudden he's like, wow, this is some great stuff. This is some great stuff, man. I can't do Conor McGregor. I can do Irish, but I can't do Conor McGregor. This is some great stuff, man. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to use this in my next fight. Right? Like, that's not what happened. Fucking, there were other cultures that had more robust systems of fighting. They didn't develop it as a style. It's not a style. Fucking, there's a strategy that you can utilize that is based around using angles and using sharp movements and using reflexes and distance and timing and other things like that, right? But that specific move, right? Like the KO that McGregor got over Aldo, right? When Aldo the Brazilian, oh, she's not in here. I was about to talk shit to my wife. When Aldo ended up getting knocked out by Conor McGregor, right? It was actually very similar to Redhead over here, right? But to sit here and be like, oh yeah, that's because of Dambe. Actually, this style is very popular in the UFC. So you know, it's like these guys like practically invented something here. It's like, no, they didn't. No, you know. In addition to that movement, Conor McGregor also knows 500 different ways to utilize it in a different manner, right? All this guy has is wait for the dude who's all the way out here to throw, and then bang. That's it. That's all he's got. Conor McGregor has angles he can utilize. He has other punches he can utilize off of it. He can utilize kicks and other things like that. This guy has one thing he's got, right? Car boxing. We'll check out car boxing. I know there's car jiu-jitsu. Bring the Coliseum back. That would be pretty cool if they had fights in the Coliseum. Guys, I just want to see just one MMA fight to the death. I don't like weapons too much, but medieval unarmed MMA, whoa. That's why Tom H was saying bring back the Coliseum. Medieval MMA. Yeah, everybody talks about medieval MMA. They typically mean M1 medieval, which is like really cool, but that shit's like 10 years old now. They never did that again. What they do have though is I'll show you. What they do have 5v5. Excuse me. 21 versus 21. They got like 30 versus 30 as well. Jeez, bro. Wow. 150 versus 150. Gosh darn. We're gonna go ahead, we're gonna check this out. Buhurt Tech. There's Americans right there. There's some Americans right there. So it's all different countries. This before I go, this is something they do every year in Europe. They have dudes from all these different countries come and fight in 1v1, 5v5, 21v21, so on and so forth. This is probably all the countries that are there right now. And they took all the different teams and they just made, they lined them up. And now you got like Ukraine, America, you got some other people. I believe this is the Russian team. I could be incorrect about that. I know Russia is there. I think this might be England. I could be wrong. I'm curious to see what other nations I might be able to pick out. But this is the American team, even though America never had knights. They even had Japan. They had Japan there. I don't know if they still do it. I would hope they do because Japan's really cool because they don't go in knight gear. They go in samurai gear. They got samurai gear and weapons. It's really cool. Man, that first person view is insane, dude. So basically the way it works is you go until you fall down. If you fall down, then you're out of the fight. I think you have to stay down where you're at too. See, it always starts off a little slow, but as soon as the first guy falls, it's just it's like a grenade went off. It's just carnage. You see them pushing forward. See, the thing about a situation like this, right, is typically whoever is just saying fuck it. Like if everybody on one side just said fuck it and just moved forward, right? They would actually have a really good chance at routing the other people, right? But there's this uh psychological thing where nobody wants to be the first guy to go forward, right? Because there's this thing where you're like, all right, we're all gonna move forward. It's gonna happen. We're all moving forward. You go to move forward, and turns out you're the only one who moved forward. You're like, shit, fuck, shit. Now I'm out of formation. All my guys are back there, and I'm that much closer to their fucking guys. I'm about to get fucked up, you know? So, like, those guys pushing on their dudes to get them to go forward, that's actually like they're not just doing it because they don't know what else to do. They're doing it because they know like we got to get the front line to actually move forward with some fucking momentum so that we can rout these guys. Um, it's just funny to see. I like how there's a bunch of dudes in back too. They're just like whatever. There's a giant gap right here, right? They probably planned this out. They were probably like, all right, the gray dudes that I think or thought were Russia. The gray dudes will we'll keep them up front, and then if anything happens, we'll have reserves in back that'll pounce. See, the thing is, like, when we see night fights in movies, we think that it's like something where people like you don't have that much control of yourself when you're in plate armor. Moving around is very you're stilted. So like this is literally the best these guys can do. They can't be sitting here like whoa, 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 whoa. That's not they're not doing it that way. Oh, oh, you see somebody went down and I'm pretty sure it's from the other side. Man, I would love to be a part of this. It would be so crazy, but the thing is it's probably so expensive to get armor made and then a weapon. Like that's probably thousands of dollars. That's pretty fucking wild though. This would be crazy. We'll go ahead and we'll check out a more fast-paced one in a little bit. We'll see how much. Oh, this is 11 minutes. All right, we'll go ahead. We'll skip ahead a little bit. I want to see the mayhem, right? That's what we came for was the mayhem. Hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. I don't think bro's doing too good. I don't think our guy is doing too hot. I think he's I think he's having a bad time, man. You know. Hey Scott, what would your weapon of choice be? Um, a firearm. No, I mean in terms of this, I'm not sure. Excuse me. Um, yeah, in terms of this, I'm not 100% sure, you know. I mean, I guess it would depend on the battle. Like what you're seeing a lot of right now is pole arms, and that's because they want to keep guys at a distance and they want to be able to whack dudes, right, when they're far away and things like that, right? Um, I'm not seeing tons of dudes who have and there's got to be guys with swords and one-handed axes and things like that. There's got to be guys with those. Because I'm seeing dudes with shields. You're not gonna have a pole arm and a shield. That's not how that works, right? Um, I guess it really does depend on the situation. In a situation like this, I'd rather be on the second line. I wouldn't want to be on the front line, right? The guys on the front lines would typically be dudes with shields, right? And then the dudes on the second line would be the ones with the pole arms whacking dudes. That's what I would want, right? If it was like if it was like a 5v5, I don't know. I guess like maybe an axe or a sword, something like that. I guess I don't know. They really just fucking chill. Like, look at this dude. He is playing dead. The Oscar goes to this fucking guy, bro. This dude too. Oh man, that's just beautiful. Our guy with the camera got whacked. Man, it's got to suck being those guys because they're supposed to be dead. You're not supposed to be beating on them. Oh, you see, there's a dude with a sword. There's a sword. Oh man, dude. I know what kind of sword that is, but I forget the name. Dude, damn. Oh, uh-oh. Action's picking up here. Dude, this is so interesting to watch for me. I don't know about you guys. You might be like, all right, when is the actual cool shit gonna happen? That might be how you're feeling, but like, this is like really fucking cool. All right. You see, at some point there's gonna be a point where I have a feeling this might be it. You see, the Brits are trying to move forward. Oh, there it goes. There we go. It's like I said, fucking mayhem's going to fucking break loose, and here it is. It was about to make a move. Oh man. Oh, dude, that's crazy. You see, you got to keep your head on a swivel in a situation like this, but when you only have eye holes that are like this, you can't really turn your head that way. You just got to kind of accept the fact that you're going to get bopped every now and again, that there's going to be a guy who just comes out the cut. They got the NFL camera right there. British dude's just like, all right, I've had enough. I'm out of here. Peace. Oh man, I can't tell who's winning right now. Like these guys are getting pushed back right here. Aw, dude, that would have been great if this dude fucking landed. There's another one. That's kind of the funny thing about that's one of the funny things about this too is that like you just kind of walk up and like you just make eye contact with someone and you're just like whack, whack, and they're just like, all right, I guess I'll just do it back. And it's like in a fight, it's so athletic. You're like, oh shit, right? In this, it's just like you can't move around, and by now these guys are definitely tired. They're inhaling their own oxygen because it's not escaping well enough. Because like, look at these helmets, right? Oxygen, carbon dioxide. I mean, they're breathing in their own carbon dioxide because it's not escaping out of the helmet as well as it should. You know, and because of that, like they're just woozy by now, and they're hot and they're tired. So they're just like they don't even have the energy to try and get away. They're just like whatever. I'm just swinging this thing. Hopefully it fucking works out. But you see, that's what I'm talking about. He just sort of gets like nailed, and there's nothing he can do about it. Ah man, he's just stepping on the Americans. Yeah, looks like our boys over here are getting pushed back. I'd defect. I'd defect at this point. I'd literally you'd see me jump around and just start whacking my own guys. I'd be like, fuck it. Roll to hit. I like watching the animal fights. Have you seen leopard versus alligator or when live boar is getting attacked by a leopard and alligator at the same time? Nah, I don't really watch those, but I am gonna probably be doing. In fact, I should have probably done that tonight. I didn't really think it. Well, I didn't have time. That's the other aspect of it. But you know, I'm hoping that this weekend I can do a video about a bear fight. Uh oh, our guy's surrounded. Our guy's surrounded. He's going down. Jeez, this is crazy. He's fighting hard though. He ain't giving up. You know, because that's the thing. It's when you fall down, you're done. You know. So like he's just getting whacked, and he could. Uh, I wanna know what he said at the end. I'm wondering if lots of people sort of just standing around. The interesting thing about that is it's probably pretty accurate. In movies, it's as if every single soldier is paired off, but in reality, third rank and back were pretty much just standing there until the guy in front of them died. I couldn't imagine being that guy 5 or 6 ranks back, just waiting as the enemy advances, feeling helpless, and pretty much just waiting for my turn to face the meat grinder of medieval combat. Yeah, yeah. The thing is, my understanding of it is or you know the way I understand it, I guess typically like the casualties in a medieval battle were actually from a rout, meaning one side gave up and ran. You know, that's my understanding of it, but you know I could be wrong. I want to see if there's anything that anyone says. Yeah, uh, oh man, I don't think anyone. Um, yeah, yeah, it's looking like because that was a Russian dude speaking to him in 2020. Like I'm curious, he does nobody translates. That fucking sucks. All right, anyway, yeah, we'll do 5 versus 5. Oh, USA versus Australia. We better beat those fucking dickheads. We better beat those fucking upside down fucks. Wait a second. Did they say China? China. China sends knights. That's crazy. Anyway, makes you wonder what the Battle of Hastings looked like. Yeah, I wonder what that looked like too. You seen that video of a horde of Indians smacking a bear on the head with branches and clubs till it dies? No, I have not. Sounds interesting, but I also don't know if I want to see that, if I'm being honest with you. Um, I have to go do game dev. I had a blast with you guys. Good night. Peace out, Jack Torrance. Hope you're doing well, man. I never see polar bears trespassing and stealing. Is all I'm saying. All right. So 5v5. Oh yeah, green and yellow, or yellow and green. That's weird. I didn't know yellow and green was an Australian thing. That's weird to me because it's like why do you have your flag as it is if yellow and green is supposed to be your thing, you know? I seen a recent gang fight with Indian men. It was all just slaps and kicks. Funniest ever, dude. Send me that if you can. Send me that on Instagram if you can. I'd really like to see that. Oh, there's one. There's one Aussie down under. Haha, got him. All right. Oh, got him up against the fence. See, if I remember correctly, they are allowed to kick out legs and stuff like that, you know? Boink. Boink. Ah, that's two of them down. Damn, bro. Just as hard as you can, not holding back. You see the dents on the helmet, bro. Like look at this. You see the dents on that helmet? Those are fresh. Those weren't there a second ago. That was from our boy just absolutely giving it to this dude. And that's what makes these things so fucking great is they're just like, fuck it, we're going. Boink. Boink. Oh, there's more over there. Okay. Yeah. See, the thing about this stuff is that it's a situation where the smaller the group is, right? If it's just a 5v5, whoever goes down first, they lose, right? Like the second you lose one guy, you lose the match. You know, that's kind of why the whole team fighting championship thing didn't take off, the 5v5 MMA. It's because as soon as one guy falls over, the fight's over, you know? You're not going to be able to fight your way out of a 5 versus 4 situation. At least not typically. I'm not saying you couldn't ever, never, never, ever do it. It's just typically not going to happen. I want to see the end of this. I want to see who they declare the winner. Oh wait, they might have. Oh no. Oh wait, they got a couple staying in. What's it gonna be? 2v2 now? Yeah, it looks like they might be going. Three v three now. 4v4. I'm confused. Maybe it's still 5 versus 5. You see, what I think might be happening is I think they might be doing it by rounds. It's been a long time since I watched these. I binge watched the shit out of these back in like 2017. It was really fun. You know, I forget exactly how they do every little thing, but it seems like they're probably going for rounds, and they just subbed in some new guys. Oh yeah, there's still 5 in there, and it's 5 different dudes. You see, like there's one guy who has a mace, and that's kind of the thing with these is that like they do sort of kind of go for things that would be considered historically accurate to my understanding, right? Like maces, you did have maces back then, right? But for this, I wouldn't want a mace. I'd want something like that. I'd want to try and hook a dude's leg and fucking trip him up and things like that. You know, I'd want something that I could really put some weight behind. And I mean, you can really put weight behind a mace, but considering what they're trying to do, I just feel like having something that big is like, you know. But hell, maybe I'm wrong. You know, these guys probably know better than I do, right? Somebody just happened to ask me what my preferred weapon would be in a night fight. America. Boink. Here we go. The thing is, too, like, you could still very easily get a concussion at these things. I'm sure it happens all the time, you know? Those metal helmets aren't going to stop you from getting a concussion. You know, you get some serious brain damage with those shits. Oh. Oh, man. I see. Oh, nice. Nice. Yo, let's check that out again. So, right? He starts dragging him this way, right? It was kind of unorthodox, right? Starts dragging him this way, right? Fucking this dude steps big, and then he just uses the fucking momentum of that dude taking a big step to go. What? That's pretty cool. So I wonder if that guy gets to get back up because it was a clean takedown. I feel like he should be able to get back up because that was like a really clean takedown. But it seems like the Americans just won. America. Take that, Tyson. Take that, Lance. Get good. Anyway, so I've been streaming for 2.5 hours. That's pretty crazy. I did not expect to stream for that long tonight. I think I'm gonna go ahead. I'm just gonna get out of here. There's gonna be no like 30-second to a minute pause where I'm like, okay, anyone got anything to say? Anyone anything? I think I'm just gonna get out of here because I want to and I got to do some stuff. So thanks everybody for showing up. I really appreciate it. Fallout stream this Sunday. Sometime over the next 2 weeks, we're going to have a Halloween stream. It's not going to be on Halloween, but it's going to be a stream in celebration of Halloween. It'll probably be on a Friday. If not, it'll be a Saturday. We'll see. I got a video coming out on Monday. I got to try and put the finishing touches on it. If I can't, I have something else in store. And we'll do it up. We'll do this thing. Anyway, as usual, again, thank you, everybody. Catch you guys later.